Let's talk about a story that's been around for 2,000 years. A story of pure genius, deep-seated fear, and a world-changing invention that was, well, deliberately erased from history. This is the legend of Rome's unbreakable glass, and the emperor who decided it was better to destroy it than to let it exist.
So get this, right at the heart of the mystery is this bizarre paradox. An inventor creates something absolutely miraculous, something that should make him rich and famous forever, but instead, he gets a death sentence. How does that happen? Why? That's exactly what we're going to dig into.
All right, so let's set the scene. Picture this. We're in the imperial court of Emperor Tiberius, sometime in the early 1st century. A regular, humble glassmaker has somehow managed to get an audience with the most powerful man in the world, and he's there to show him something that sounds, frankly, impossible.
Now, the way the Roman writer Petronius tells it, this was pure theater. You can just imagine the silence in the room. The glassmaker holds up this beautiful glass bowl, and then he just hurls it onto the stone floor. Everyone's waiting for this smash, right? For it to explode into a million tiny pieces. But it doesn't. It just dents, like it was made of soft metal. Then, to top it all off, he pulls out a little hammer and just taps the dent right out. The bowl is perfect again. To everyone there, it must have looked like actual magic.
So the emperor is just completely blown away. He's looking at this material that just shouldn't exist, and he asks what turns out to be the single most important question of this inventor's life. Does anyone else know how to do this?
Okay, so you have to wonder, did this actually happen? It's an incredible story for sure, but here's the thing. We only have 2 main sources from ancient Rome that even mention it. And as you're about to see, they tell 2 very different versions of the tale.
So in one corner, you've got Petronius. He's a satirist, and he gives us the really juicy, dramatic version, with the hammer, the demonstration, the immediate execution. But in the other corner, you've got Pliny the Elder. He's a serious historian writing an encyclopedia, and he's way more skeptical. He just says the guy's workshop was shut down. He even adds this little note basically saying, look, this story is popular, but there's not much proof it's true.
And that's the real historical puzzle, isn't it? Are we talking about a genius who was brutally murdered for his invention, or was this just a tall tale that got passed around the empire? Before we get into the why, let's figure out the how. Was this even scientifically possible? For centuries, people just dismissed this whole thing as a total fantasy. But modern science actually offers this tantalizing little possibility that maybe, just maybe, there's a kernel of truth to it. Let's see how.
So the secret ingredient, at least hypothetically, is a compound called boric oxide. We know today that if you add just a little bit of this to glass when you're making it, it creates these incredibly strong chemical bonds. The end result is a material that's just way, way tougher than normal glass.
Now, the really crucial part is, could a Roman craftsman have even found this stuff? And believe it or not, yeah, it's possible. Natural borax, which is the source of boric oxide, was available in the Roman Empire. He could have found it locally, or maybe it was imported. He could have stumbled on it totally by accident, mistook it for something else, and voila, he accidentally creates this super strong, shock-resistant glass.
I mean, the basic idea isn't fantasy at all. We have our own versions of unbreakable glass today. Think about Prince Rupert's drops. You can hit the head with a hammer. Or chemically strengthened glass they used to make super durable dinnerware. And of course, there's borosilicate glass, which you probably know as Pyrex, famous for not shattering from heat shock. So the idea of toughened glass is very, very real.
Okay, so if we can agree that the invention was at least plausible, we have to go back to the most disturbing part of the story, the emperor's reaction. Why would a leader want to kill an idea this revolutionary?
Let's rewind to that fateful question. The emperor asks, who else knows the secret? And the craftsman, he's probably thinking this is his big moment, the peak of his life. He proudly says, nobody, I'm the only one. He thinks he's securing his place in history. In reality, he's just sealed his fate.
You have to try to get inside the emperor's head here. He didn't see a scientific miracle. He saw a threat. He's looking at this beautiful, durable, seemingly magical material and thinking, what if this becomes more valuable than gold, than silver? The entire Roman economy was built on the value of those precious metals. If that collapsed, it would be chaos. So to him, the logic was cold and simple. Sacrifice one man to protect the entire economic order.
And that was that, the brutal final act. The inventor was executed, not because he failed, but because he succeeded too well. And the secret of his flexible glass died right there with him,
all thanks to an emperor's fear of disruption.
So what do we do with this story? Well, whether it's 100% true or not almost misses the point. The reason it has survived for so long is because of what it represents. It's a cautionary tale that has been echoing for 2 millennia.
The consensus among most historians is that this is likely a fable. It wasn't written down as a piece of journalism, but more as a commentary on power itself. It's a story that's designed to make you think about how people in charge react when they're faced with something that's totally new, and to them, frighteningly revolutionary.
And that is exactly why this legend is still around. It teaches us that truly game-changing ideas often look like a threat to the systems already in place. It shows how the fear of things changing can lead those in power to stamp out progress just to maintain control. The story of Vitrum Flexile is just this timeless, powerful warning about that delicate and sometimes brutal dance between innovation and power.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The story of the Roman glassmaker isn't really about the past. It forces us to ask a pretty uncomfortable question about our own time. What incredible world-changing ideas might we be suppressing or ignoring right now, simply because we're afraid of how they might change our world?